Freeform Course FF6. Create a perfect studio spline. Early on, people had a tool for designing a boat, a flexible, wooden slat. It was particularly evenly grown, was attached to the bow and stern and arched over the frame in the middle of the boat. This curvature was transferred to the other frames to achieve the desired shape. But buildings with harmonious shapes, and later everyday objects, were also designed with the help of a flexible, thin slat. The spline, formerly made of wood and later of plastic, is now a mathematical curve called a spline. But the boundary conditions have remained the same. The spline must be partially tangential, follow directions, run through points, and be more or less flexible. But perfect surfaces can only be created with a perfect spline. But how do you create a perfect spline? Welcome to LearnNX and to the next video of the Freeform course. The math of splines. The selected points and constraints result in a different spline, depending on the selected curve degree. But which curve degree is the right one? This quickly becomes clear, once you understand the mathematics behind it, at least in outline. And so the video starts with a short dive into the world of mathematics. It starts with a simple, diagonal line. Curve degree 1. For an inclined line, the formula is, y is p1 multiplicated with x. X and y are the coordinates, p1 is the pitch. To be able to move the line in the y direction, the distance d0 is added. This small formula creates a movable draft line on a plane, which can now also be moved in the y direction. It is defined with the spline command via 2 points and curve degree 1. Everything clear so far? Then let's dive in further. Curve degree 2. To create a parabola or hyperbola, x must be multiplied by itself. The factor p2 additionally controls the height. To be able to align them at an angle and move them in the y direction, we simply add the formula for the diagonal line. This means that the curve can also have all the properties of the last curve. It is defined with the spline command via 3 points and curve degree 2. Still a clear view? Then let's dive further down. Curve degree 3. However, it is not yet possible to change the direction. This is only possible if x is multiplied by itself another time. The factor p3 additionally controls the height. A change of direction is now possible. To ensure that the curve also has all the properties of the last curve, we add the last formula again. It is defined with the spline command, using 4 points and curve degree 3. Curve degree 4 and higher. And so it goes on and on. Once again, x is multiplied by itself. And again, we add the formula of the last curve in order to adopt its properties as well. It is defined with the command spline over 5 points and curve degree 4. Do you also notice a pattern? The curve degree always corresponds to the exponent. For curve degree 5, the formula is therefore. Then all the properties of the last curve are added together again. And it is defined with the command spline over 6 points and the curve degree 5. A pattern can also be recognized here. If the first point is not counted, the number of points corresponds to the degree of the curve. By the way, the maximum curve degree is 24. Single and multi-segment splines. For 7 points, curve degree 6 must be selected according to the now familiar pattern. The formula of the spline fits perfectly with the selection of points. The result is a continuous curve, a so-called single-segment spline. The curve analysis command shows that the curve swings smoothly from concave to convex, a perfect spline. However, it is also possible to reduce the curve degree. If curve degree 5 is selected, the 7 points can no longer be linked to the formula for curve degree 6.
That makes sense, but what now?
NX creates the spline from 2 segments, a multi-segment spline. The show knots command displays the connecting nodes. Spline Analysis. The Spline Analysis command can be found under Menu, Information, Spline. After selecting the spline, the analysis shows that the spline has a curve degree of 5, is defined by 7 points, and consists of 2 segments. The segments are connected to C2 continuous, you could also say G2 continuous. You can find more information about curve continuity in this video. Press F5 to delete the lines. If the curve degree is reduced to 4, 2 knots are already visible. And the Spline Analysis command now shows 3 segments and 2 C2 knots. The curve analysis shows perfect transitions. This is where it becomes critical, because if the curve degree is reduced to 3, the connections between the segments become significantly worse. Although the Spline Analysis command still displays C2 knots, the curve analysis shows that there is a sudden change in curvature at the knots. Surfaces created from such splines show unsightly reflections. If the curve degree is even reduced to 2, 5 segments are created, but they are all parabolas or hyperbolas. They are only connected by C1 knots, so they are connected tangentially. The curve analysis shows the sudden change in curvature. Absolutely useless for an external surface, but still suitable for a guide rail in mechanical engineering. And finally, the reduction to curve degree 1. 6 segments are created, each segment is calculated according to the very first formula, so it is a line. There are only C0 nodes, which means that they are connected with kinks. Although they are lines according to the math, they remain connected as splines, like a blade of grass with 6 kinks. I hope my explanation was clear and understandable for you, and not too long. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it any shorter, because I wanted you to realize that reducing the curve degree does more than just change the stiffness. What do you think? Was the detailed explanation necessary? Feel free to write me a comment. Spline alignments. Splines can also be aligned to other objects such as edges, lines, or axes. If you want to actively participate, create this small sketch with 5 points and 3 lines. The spline should now pass through the points, and be aligned with the lines. When selecting the last point, the end of the line, the desired connection can be selected immediately. In the list, we see alignment G2 for point 5. For 5 points, curve degree 4 should fit, right? With the show knots command, it quickly becomes clear that the spline now has 2 knots, meaning it consists of 3 segments. This is because the G2 alignment requires a higher curve degree. The 2 additional entries are to be regarded as additional points. The curve degree thus increases to 6, but this only applies to a perfect single segment spline. The start can also be aligned to this curve. First select the point in the list, and then select the line via specify tangent. Again, the curve degree must be increased. The arc should now touch the horizontal line tangentially. A new point must be created for this. Activate the snap option, point on curve, and select a point on the spline. You can now drag the point to the line and select the desired constraint. Of course, points can also be deleted. After right-clicking on point 3, the point can be deleted with delete point. After right-clicking on point 2, additional alignments can also be defined with specify constraint. Using the ball you can change the direction. The opposite arrow increases or decreases the influence of the point on the spline. The arrow across the direction allows you to specify a local radius. Directly at the point, the spline now has a radius of 35 mm, for example. For a single segment spline, the curve degree would now have to be increased to 10. As already mentioned, NX can also manage a curve degree of up to 24. The calculation formula would be very long accordingly, which used to lead to long calculation times. Exporting to DXF is not a problem, but problems can occur when importing to another CAD system. Not every CAD system can manage splines with a curve degree of more than 5. Spline with poles. If the focus is on designing a surface, the spline can also be defined using poles. The first and last point can be aligned tangentially, and the poles can also be aligned to points. In practice, they are simply positioned freely to create a spline, and thus a surface as desired. This also explains why the single segment option is directly available here. This adjusts the curve degree directly to the number of points. The next video shows how to work with splines in the sketch and freely in space. If you like the video, click like and support the channel with your subscription.